brings with January a quadrantid meteor shower, which is one of the most intense displays to grace planet Earth. Up to 200 meteors expected an hour, and the shower will peak overnight tonight and tomorrow. If you're keen to see the display, the Greenwich Royal Observatory has advised people to head to a wide open space away from light pollution, but unfortunately might not be quite as mesmerising as usual, as we've got a very bright moon which is going to spoil things a little bit. But if you're a proper space geek like me, you'll enjoy it anyway. Let's talk to Andy Lound, our favourite spaceman when it comes to all sort of things. Andy, great to see you. Where do we need to be looking and when?
Yeah, I mean, fortunately, it gets quite dark. It's usually best after 10 p.m, really. So it's going to be cold, so you've got to make sure you wrap yourself up really well. And really you want a good, clear piece of sky above your head. I mean, to be honest, the meteors can actually shoot around all over the place, but their tails all point backwards. They seem to emanate from the old constellation of Quadrantids Muralis, which was an old constellation which no longer technically exists. It's not on the book, but it's up near the Plough, so that would be a good place. But they will shoot across the sky. The trick has always been on meteor showers, look in the darkest part of the sky. So you want to get away from street lights. You want to get away from buildings and things like that. But we do have the moon. And you need to allow yourself 20 to 30 minutes for your eyes to adapt to the darkness. That's really quite important. So you get almost like your eyes in tuned with the conditions around you. And the beauty of this is, even though we've got a moon, some of them are actually quite bright. You often get quite bright fireballs associated with the quadrantids, which makes them an interesting meteor shower during the year.
What are we actually seeing here? I mean, it's just, if we know it's coming and it's a regular thing, then obviously it's the tail of something which we are regularly passing through. So what exactly is it?
This is a good question, because this is an unusual meteor shower. It's associated with an object that was only discovered in 2003, and it's got a sexy name of 2003 EH1. It's a minor planet, and it's thought to possibly be an asteroid, but it could well be a spent comet core. Now, comets, of course, get heated up. There's ices in there, and the solar wind blows the tails of dust and ices behind them, and every so often the Earth will pass through the remnants of this tail, and therefore we get meteor showers, such as the Perseids and the Leonids. But we're actually getting the remnants of this object. And although we've only just discovered the object itself, this meteor shower dates back to 1825, when it was first identified by the Italian astronomer Brucalassi. But a comet was observed in 1495 by the Chinese, Japanese and North Koreans, as we now would call them. And therefore it appears that this spent comet core is what we rediscovered in 2003. So we're looking at pieces of dust and pieces of ice entering the atmosphere at about 70 kilometres a second.
Wow. I mean, that's some speed, isn't it? I just find the whole thing fascinating with this. I find going back all that time to 1400 and whatever, I mean, it's less than a blink of an eye in cosmic terms, isn't it?
Oh, it is. It's fantastic. And a lot of the data that we get for modern comets that we observe and look at, we actually look back in the old Chinese records, and we're able to get accurate predictions for their orbits purely because they're very, very good observations. And that's what's really important. In fact, we've got some data from Babylonian tablets, which are actually quite important in cuneiform texts, which have been quite useful for us to actually predict the movements of these bodies. And comets are really interesting bodies in their own right. And if we've got a cometary core in a stable orbit, which orbits about every 5¼ years around the sun, then that's got to be a perfect target to send a spacecraft to at some point for sampling, because it will have calmed down by now.